What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we need to do a little bit of an update for the Marvel Champions release schedule. I do these every so often. They generally go down pretty well. It can get confusing. Things change quite often, and especially at the moment, right? We all know we're in a pandemic. No one likes talking about the fact that we're in a pandemic. I don't like mentioning it in multiple videos. It's very, very boring. But the fact of the matter remains that when we're talking about release dates and card games and all of that, it's super relevant. Because this is essentially what is leading to stuff being delayed. There is nothing really coming out that looks like it should be coming out when it is, if that makes any sense. Essentially, what we've basically got is a bunch of stuff which has been delayed, and we are probably a good couple of months behind what we actually should be. And you're going to see, the ones we're talking about today, we've got some that have gone and been delayed, and some which are essentially doubling up months, which we wouldn't really want to do, but we kind of have to do to try and catch up, etc. So we're basically doing what we can, ladies and gentlemen. We're doing what we can. Now, as I'm recording this, we should have just seen the release of Scarlet Witch, which came shortly after Quicksilver. I know Scarlet Witch made it out in the UK quite a bit before she made it out in the US, etc. But it seems like both Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch are out now. I have done reviews for both of those characters. I was very surprised. Quicksilver turned out to be awesome. Loads of redding and busting stats and just so much fun. Scarlet Witch I enjoyed greatly, but the thing I've got to mention about Scarlet Witch, as I did in my review, absolute, utter chaos. It's a weird kind of hero pack, but it's an awful lot of fun. And essentially the release of those two products ended the Avengers block, or the Avengers cycle, or the Avengers, call it what you will. We'd been getting Avengers for a while. That is the end. Because the next product actually coming out is Galaxy's Most Wanted. Now, this is the third big box set. Obviously, we had the core set. We then had Rise of the Red Skull, which was, the first big box expansion, so to speak. And this is the second of the big box expansions. And this really does shift the focus from the Avengers to the Guardians of the Galaxy. This is currently scheduled for release in April, which of course is really interesting because it was supposed to be released in February. Now, given that I'm recording this in March, and it's still not out for another month, I think it's fair to say that it has been delayed. If you're looking for a reason why it's been delayed, please don't strain yourselves, ladies and gentlemen. The reason is pretty gosh darned obvious. But Galaxy's Most Wanted is, it's a big box set, and it is just awesome. It's bringing in two new heroes in the shape of Rocket and Groot, which I absolutely love. And of course, this is kind of interesting, because Rocket and Groot, they have alter egos, but they are just Rocket and Groot. Nothing else. Now, Groot is very interesting because Groot is all built around these, they call them growth counters. So, for instance, in alter ego mode, you can place 2 growth counters on. And then in hero mode, you've got a forced interrupt, where when you would take any amount of damage, you remove growth counters equal to, either the amount you're taking or the amount of counters you've got, and prevent 1 damage in that way. And then there's all kinds of other cards that do more for each growth counter you've got, put more growth counters on, etc, etc. Looks like an awful lot of fun. Rocket Raccoon is also the other hero coming in that particular set. In alter ego mode, you can discard a tech upgrade you control to draw 2 cards. We like having draw actions in alter ego mode. And in hero mode, we've got Murder Jew. After you deal excess damage to an enemy, you draw a card. You do not often get draw power in hero mode. It's usually reserved for alter ego mode. So that is pretty gosh darn good. And I've praised the card designers many times for this, and if they keep doing it, I'm going to keep doing it. They keep giving us really nice heroes which work like you would expect them to. So, like Rocket, really is built all around his upgrades, which is kind of ridiculous. So we can look at something like hand cannon, obviously a tech upgrade. It's restricted. You get 3 charge counters, i.e. you can use it 3 times and then it's worthless, but then you scrap it or discard it with your alter ego to draw 2 cards. And when you make a basic attack, you exhaust hand cannon, remove a charge counter, and you get +2 attack. So it really is a hero built around its tech. Now, we are also building in a whole bunch of villains here. We know we are getting a couple of collector scenarios built around the collector, and, you know, collector gonna collect. So when a card would be placed in a discard pile, yours or the villain's, place it face up in the collection instead, and if there are at least 5 cards per person in the collection, then the players lose the game. So yeah, this is kind of interesting. It looks like a different way to play it, which looks kind of cool. There are 2 collector scenarios, but unfortunately we've not really seen enough of them to give a really good look. We also know that the Brotherhood of the Badoon built around Drang is going to be one of these scenarios. And you've got the Badoon ship and you charge it up, which places a barrage counter on, and then if there's 4 or more, you deal 2 damage to each player. And after Drang schemes, you resolve that ability in extra time. It sounds kind of fun and kind of interesting. There are a couple of other scenarios that we know are coming that we unfortunately don't really know very much about at all. We know that Nebula is going to be one of the villains featured, though we unfortunately don't really know anything about her. And we know that Ronan the Accuser is going to be one of the villains. And I know we've actually already seen Ronan the Accuser as that print and play super hard set. This is not the same thing. This is as a villain rather than a minion. So this is going to be the big box coming along in April. Following hot on the heels of that, we've got Star-Lord coming along in May. And Star-Lord is one that I think looks absolutely amazing. I am very excited about this, but it looks super difficult. Essentially, Star-Lord is your, well, the very risky character that kind of runs around being a little bit silly and taking risks, and that's what you've got. You know, in alter ego mode, you search for an element gun and add it to your hand, and then you got an action that lets you choose a card in your hand and swap it with the top card of your deck. Again, these kind of draw and search powers in alter ego are fairly standard. But then in hero mode, when you play a card from your hand, you can reduce the cost of the card by 3 if you deal yourself a face down encounter card. And then you've got stuff like Daring Escape, which lets you ready your hero and draw a card for 0 cost, as long as you deal yourself a face-down encounter card. See where we're going with this, ladies and gentlemen? There's lots of super powerful things that you can do, lots of things you can take advantage of, just so long as you're willing to deal yourself a bunch of face-down encounter cards, which I personally think sounds like an awful lot of fun. And we expected Gamora to be coming along in June, but Gamora's actually coming along in May. It says it right there in the reveal article. The Guardians arrive in Marvel Champions, a card game with the Galaxy's Most Wanted. And with the Gamora Hero Pack arriving in May, the team is really starting to come together. What that essentially means is that we end up having 2 in the same month. Now, in the UK, we actually did just have Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch in the same month. That was not the case in the US. Incidentally, you did have them a month apart because you got Scarlet Witch a little bit later. But we ended up having them in the same month. I actually got them arriving at my house on the same day. I was not upset, because it gave me, you know, a week of just really awesome new Marvel Champion stuff. You know, a few days with Scarlet Witch, flick over to Quicksilver, back to Scarlet Witch. It was lots of fun. But it does look like we are getting these in the exact same month, maybe the same day, which honestly, I'm kind of into. This sounds like an awful lot of fun. Now, I should mention I have done videos looking at everything we know about Star-Lord and Gamora, but to give you the kind of quick potted version of Gamora, essentially in alter ego mode, it lets you include up to 6 attack and or thwart events from other aspects. Now, I should mention that Gamora is coming out of the box with aggression, though that doesn't mean too much with your deck building options. And because I didn't mention them earlier, let's just say nice and quickly, Star-Lord is coming through with leadership, which you would probably expect. Groot is coming through as protection, which you would probably expect. And Rocket is coming through with aggression, which you would probably expect. But you've got these extra deck building options, which are an awful lot of fun. Then, once during your turn, you may look at the top card of your deck. If it's an attack or thwart event, you draw it. Again, draw power in Alter Ego, we see it quite a bit. But then in hero mode, when you play an attack event, you remove a threat from a scheme, and when you play a thwart event, you deal a damage to an enemy. And this essentially keeps going. There are lots of cards we've seen already that really do a little bit of everything. Like, for instance, Hit and Run for free cost will deal 2 damage to an enemy and remove 2 threat from a scheme. But because it is both an attack and a thwart event, that will activate both Finesse to remove a threat and Precision to deal a damage, which sounds like an awful lot of fun. The deck really does seem to be built out the box at least, and really in all the hero cards as well, about balance, which obviously, again, credit to the card designers here, that's kind of Gamora's thing. The other really cool thing, and this does fit the lore of Marvel comics and books and movies and everything really nicely, Nebula is both your signature ally and your Nemesis minion. Remember, when the Nemesis minion comes out, it discards your ally, so the you can't have both of them in play at the same time is not an issue. So, basically, if you like the Guardians of the Galaxy, April and May is looking good. We got a big box with 2 heroes and 5 scenarios coming in April, and we got 2 new heroes coming in May. It's about to get really busy all up in here. And if anyone doesn't think that Drax is the next hero pack, I got nothing for you, ladies and gentlemen. I have seen some unconfirmed rumors and leaks that Drax is going to be the next hero pack, but there are 5 classic Guardians of the Galaxy, and by the time we get Gamora, we've got 4 of them. There is absolute... I don't care if these leaks are real or not, it doesn't matter. There is absolutely no way whatsoever Drax is not the next hero pack. There is just no way the card designers wouldn't do that. It's blatantly going to be Drax. Yes, I know in the comics there have been plenty of other heroes that have joined the Guardians of the Galaxy at various times. I too would like Agent Venom. But there is no way we're not getting Drax as the 5th hero for Guardians of the Galaxy. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That is the upcoming release schedule. That's what you need to know. I gave you a very quick overview of the heroes and villains that we know about, but as I've said, there are other videos where I go into them in a lot more detail. I'll link them in the description. For now, I want to hear from you guys. I want to know what you think about all of these. I want to know what you're looking forward to. I want to know what's high on your shopping list. So let me know in the comment section. Go nuts. Me nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wasi Plays.